Yo, okay, I'm back for another video. Now, I know the last video was a little deep and slightly what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, depressing. I don't know. But I'm back doing another movie review. Yesterday, I saw Death of a Unicorn starring Jenna Ortega. One second. I should have searched his name. For some reason, I keep forgetting his name. I know he plays Ant-Man and he was in Halloween 6. Paul Rudd. Right? Paul Rudd? Yes, Paul Rudd. Okay, so yeah, this movie, it was an early access. So yeah, I saw it yesterday, and I was gonna see it Thursday, alongside was A Working Man, which I'm now seeing on Friday. But I decided, it's early access, so why not? So yeah, Death of a Unicorn. This movie is weird. It's weird. It wasn't bad. It's like a sci-fi comedy. It's very the characters are very over the top, and it's about unicorns, and yeah. So let's get into it. First things first, the cast: Jenna Ortega, Paul Rudd. Jenna Ortega, she was in a lot of things. I think the last movie I saw her in was Miller's Girl from last year. I saw that in theaters. That was not a good movie. And then before that was Scream 6. And then before that was Scream 5, and obviously Wednesday. So yeah, she's the big up and coming. Well, not up and coming. She's already very popular. She's a big young actress now. She was good in this. She plays Ridley. But the only thing I was thinking of was Ridley Scott, the director of the first Alien. 1 second. Sorry about that. Had to let my dog in because she wouldn't have stopped barking. But yeah, all I was thinking about was Ridley Scott, who directed the first Alien. And then we have Paul Rudd. He's Ant-Man, and he was also I think he played Tommy Doyle in Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. And I'm pretty sure that was his first acting role, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. And then we have Will Poulter. He's in a lot of things. I think the last thing I saw him in was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I think came out in 2023. Yeah, and then we have this lady, Tia Leone. The only thing I know her from is the first Bad Boys movie, and then we have a few other people. So it's about this dad and his daughter, Paul Rudd and Jenna. What's the dad's name? Elliot and Ridley. They are going to this place to like sell some type of deal with these rich people. And it's let me just Shepard, Belinda, and Odell. They're the family. And we also have a few other people. My favorite character of the movie, Griff. He's played by Anthony Carrigan. He's bald and he has no eyebrows. He was my favorite character in the movie, and I really wanted him to survive. So I'm glad he did survive. But yeah, this movie is interesting to say the least. The tonally, I would say it balances. I would say it balances the comedy and the slightly serious moments fairly well. There is much more. It's much more comedy than sci-fi, I would say. Visually, you can tell that this movie doesn't have the biggest budget. The CGI looks a little bit wonky at times with the unicorns, and some of the effects, you can tell like it's like CGI blood. There's not a lot of real practical effects going on here. It doesn't look terrible, but there are certain shots that look a little green screeny. So just prepare for that. In terms of the performances, all the performances were great. The standouts again, Griff. He was my favorite character. He plays like this assistant butler type kind of guy. He just gets everything that everyone asks, and he's very funny. And again, he reminds me of. He reminds me a little bit of Joe, like a more tame Joe from Scream 2. He just, like, when shit hits the fan, he just kind of skedaddles, and I'm glad he does, because I really didn't want him to die. Some other standouts would be Will Poulter. He's always great. He's very funny in anything and everything that he's in. I also remember seeing him in We're the Millers back in. I didn't see it in theaters, obviously, but I watched that movie a while ago, and he was really funny in that. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna be in the upcoming Warfare movie. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna be in that movie. So I'm looking, and he's supposed to be playing a more serious character. So I'm looking forward to see how he pulls that off. But he ended up being like the big bad of the movie by the end. He's very over the top and just overall funny. He hits his mark every time. And the girl from, I'm just gonna call her the girl from Bad Boys, or the woman. Sorry, the woman from Bad Boys. She was good as well. She, and I'm not trying to, but how old is she? She's 59. She looks good. She looks good. Just saying. She looks good for her age. She's older than my mom. Yeah. And Jenna Ortega, she was great. Paul Rudd. Now, his character, Elliot. Let's talk about his whole thing is Elliot and Ridley. They're, well, sorry. I just had a stroke. Let me. Okay. Elliot and Ridley. Ridley's mom died, which is Elliot's wife. And I think she died from like some type of disease. And Elliot's whole thing is he wants Ridley to be secure financially, and he'll do whatever it takes to make sure that she's good and she never has to worry about anything. And Ridley, she's just kind of this like emo, well, not really emo. She's just very, I don't know, introverted. And she's like, she vapes and shit, and she's very like eccentric. So like Ridley, she always tries to like bring up, the mom and all that shit. And he's more like closed off when it comes to talking about her. So yeah, but okay, let's get into the plot. I'm sorry, I feel like this is a little scrambled. They're driving, Elliot and Ridley. For some reason, the unicorns, they mess with like the power and shit, so like the power goes off. They end up hitting a baby unicorn. And then Ridley touches the horn and just gets transported into this beautiful looking visual universe thing. And then Elliot gets scared and ends up killing the unicorn. Then they take it back to the house, where it's revealed that it didn't die. And then one of the assistants shoots it in the head, actually killing it. And then the parents come and attempt to get the unicorn back. But what the unicorn does is it can cure things. So Ridley, she had acne. It cured her acne. Elliot had eye problems. It cured that. And then the old guy, the old main guy, Odell, he has cancer, and it cured his cancer and made him like all good again. So they essentially, the family, they want to use the unicorn as a profit, to make billions of money, of dollars and shit. And Ridley's like, no, we can't do this, because when she touched the horn, she saw something, and she thinks it's a bad idea to keep the unicorn, and that they should just leave, like her and Elliot. And Elliot's like, no, we need this, And I'm not gonna lie, throughout the movie, the only two people I was rooting for was Ridley and Griff. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really rooting for Elliot. I wasn't rooting for Elliot. And at the end of the movie, when everyone is like murdered and shit. Oh, by the way, Will Poulter, he played his character is an asshole, but a good asshole. So it was like I wasn't rooting for him, but I was every time he was on screen, I had fun. But at the end of the movie, when Elliot ends up dying, I was kind of satisfied. I kind of wanted him to stay dead. Because even though I get where he's coming from, throughout the movie, he just makes the worst decisions ever. And he's just kind of like he's not a good dad. And he acknowledges that. And I get it. People deserve a redemption arc. But it's just like, I feel like it wasn't enough for me to just change my mind about how I felt. So it's like throughout the movie, I was like, man, I'm not really rooting for this guy, and he's one of the two main characters. I'm rooting for this bald assistant guy, the butler, the servant, more than Elliot. So when he died, I'm like, all right, great, that's what I wanted. But then the unicorns, they decide to help Ridley and bring him back. So it's like, and then the unicorn, they decide Ridley and Elliot get arrested because everyone gets murdered. And they blamed it on the unicorns. So there's that. And then the unicorns they get arrested, and then the unicorns hit the cop car that they were in off the road. So it's like, we don't know if they lived or not. But what I can say is that Griff definitely lived. So that's good. Because he's the only one that I actually gave a shit about. I don't know. This movie, it's like, I would say it's better than Wolfman and the Monkey, but that's not really saying much. Besides the good performances, I would say this movie is pretty lackluster, pretty mid. And that's just me keeping it a stack. Like it was cool. And my theater wasn't even that packed. For considering that it was an early access screening, I was expecting more people. There wasn't that many people, and there was only like a handful of times where people were laughing. But for the most part, the jokes kind of didn't hit the mark for most people. The only time that people were like actually bursting out laughing was when it was Will Poulter's character, because most of his lines are gold. He's awesome. So besides his jokes and his like delivery, everyone else is kind of like fell flat. And yeah, I'm trying to like do a different style of my reviews, because I noticed that for the past few reviews, I've kind of just been like literally explaining the whole movie and the plot beat by beat. So now I'm just kind of trying to not give the whole movie away and like talk about bits and pieces of the movie and how I felt about those bits and pieces. In terms of the unicorn design, they were all right. It was nothing too crazy. The kills were fine. They're visually it wasn't bad, but there was certain instances where it looked a little CGI, because it's a unicorn. So but I will say the standout kills would be Odell's kill and Shepard's kill, played by Will Poulter, and this doctor lady, Dr. Batia. Her death was cool. She literally gets the two unicorns grab her and rip her in half. That was cool. And my favorite character was Griff. That's it. I want to see whoever plays Griff. I want to see him in more movies. He was a standout for me. Yeah, that's really about it. I don't have much to say about this movie. I feel like these first 3 months out of 2024, 2023, and 2022, my previous movie years, I feel like these first 3 months have been the shittiest year for movies out of all of them so far. But that's about to change. That's about to change because we're ending March off with A Working Man. That's gonna be my last review. I'm gonna be posting it on Saturday. This Saturday, I'm seeing it on Friday. And, you know, I may or may not post it on Friday. We'll see because I am seeing it in the morning. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. But we're ending March off with A Working Man, which I'm actually really excited for. Jason Statham being Jason Statham, you know, you can't go wrong with that. And then April, for the most part, everything coming out in April, I'm very excited for. I'm very pumped for. Like April, May, June, July, some heavy hitting shit is dropping, and I feel like that's really what's gonna bring it back. Cause these first 3 months, painful. It's been ass. I'm gonna be honest. It's been rough. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's been my review for Death of a Unicorn. I would say, you know, go check it out, get your opinion on it. But for me personally, this movie was very underwhelming. But the performances were good. The kills were good enough, and the comedy was solid. Like, you know, it was solid enough. You know. Yeah, if I had to give this a rating, I'll give it like a 6.5, 7, 6.57. That's fair. You know, it's not definitely not the worst movie of the year, but you know, not you know, it's nothing memorable. I'll say that much. I'm sorry if this review is a little mid. I haven't made a review in a little bit. I'm kind of getting used to it. You know, getting in the groove of it. You know, a different style of making reviews instead of just literally explaining the movie beat for beat, bar for bar, word for word. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna just let me cook. Give me a little time to adjust to, you know, talking about, you know, the sound design and the visual design and all that other technical shit that, you know, is important to talk about when in terms of movies, you know, not just the story and the characters and all that shit. So yeah, it was just let me cook. All right. But yeah, man, that's it. My next review will be Friday. I'll post it on Friday. I'll make it on Friday and post it on Friday. All right. Yeah, that's it. I'm the Hero Light Legend, Tyree Figueroa, signing out. Peace.